Some people think the one who manipulates, lies, and walks away untouched somehow wins in the end. But what if the real punishment already started the moment you stopped giving them access to your heart? What if the person who shattered your peace is now trapped inside the very emptiness they spent years trying to escape? TF family, this is the part nobody talks about. The collapse doesn't always happen loudly. Sometimes it happens in silence, behind a mask they fight every day to keep alive. The person who drained your energy and made you question your reality may still look confident on the outside, but internally, something far more unsettling is happening. People like this survive through reflection. They build themselves through attention, validation, admiration, and control. That's why they search for deeply compassionate people, not by accident, but because emotionally aware people carry warmth, patience, belief, and emotional depth. And for someone disconnected from their authentic self, that kind of energy becomes addictive. At first, they mirror your values. They study your kindness. They become the version of themselves you wanted to believe in. But over time, the cracks begin to show. The manipulation, the confusion, the emotional exhaustion. And while you were trying to save the relationship, they were often trying to protect the image they created. What hurts the most is realizing you were loving potential while they were protecting performance. But here's where the story changes. The moment you stop feeding the illusion, something begins to shift. The validation they depended on disappears. The emotional mirror they used to feel important is suddenly gone. And without that constant reassurance, they're left alone with the one thing they spent years avoiding themselves. That's why many of them rush into distractions, new attention, new people, new admiration. Not because they've healed, because silence forces self-reflection, and self-reflection is uncomfortable when someone has spent a lifetime avoiding accountability. Meanwhile, something completely different starts happening inside you. The pain that once broke your confidence slowly sharpens your awareness. The confusion becomes clarity. The betrayal teaches discernment. You begin noticing patterns you once ignored. You stop apologizing for your intuition. You stop chasing closure from people committed to misunderstanding you. And that transformation is powerful, because while they remain trapped repeating the same emotional cycles, you begin rebuilding from something real. Not image, not performance. Identity, peace, boundaries, self-respect. That's why healing scares manipulative people more than revenge ever could. Your silence becomes proof they can no longer control your emotions. Your growth becomes evidence that their version of you was never the truth. And eventually, the mask gets heavier for them to carry. The charm starts feeling forced. The stories stop matching. People notice inconsistencies. Relationships become harder to maintain because authenticity cannot grow in environments built on emotional games. Over time, many manipulative people become isolated not because everyone abandoned them unfairly, but because maintaining a false identity eventually exhausts everyone around them. But you become stronger in ways nobody can fake. You learn that your empathy was never weakness. Your kindness was never foolishness. The real mistake was giving endless understanding to someone who refused to understand themselves. In TF family, this is the truth many survivors need to hear tonight. You did not lose your value because someone failed to value you correctly. You were not difficult to love. You were simply trying to pour genuine care into someone who only knew how to consume it. The greatest form of justice is not watching someone fall apart. It's realizing you no longer need their approval to feel whole. One day, you'll look back and understand that the very experience meant to destroy your spirit became the reason you finally trusted yourself again. And that kind of growth cannot be copied, manipulated, or stolen. So keep healing, keep rebuilding, keep becoming the person they could never control again. If this message spoke to you, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay connected with TF, because every video here is a reminder that your peace matters, your voice matters, and your healing is still unfolding one step at a time. This content is created for educational and self-reflection purposes and is not intended to diagnose or label anyone. Always seek professional support for personal mental health concerns.